Well, I grew up in a Christian home. My mother loved the Lord. We sang around the piano Christian songs from really young age. As I became a teen, going to church, going to what we called Methodist Youth Fellowship, MYF, heard the gospel many, many times, read the Bible through many times. And as a teen, we got a pastor coming to the church that just on fire for the Lord. And one of my sisters got saved, and she led one of my other younger sisters to the Lord. And then they both started trying to lead me to the Lord. Gave me a Bible and just would send me notes and everything. Just wanted to see their big brother come to the Lord. And I had it up here. I had years and years of reading the Bible, going to church, and I'd heard the gospel, and I thought I was a Christian. Years went by as in my late teens and even into my early 20s, looking for something. Of course, I'd heard about Christianity and studied it. Got involved with Jehovah's Witnesses, Scientology, actually into satanic stuff, real satanic stuff. During that time, I got married. I got married at the age of 20. I was not a great husband. I had an alcohol problem, drinking excessively, abusive. We had 2 children during that period. It was during that point that I realized here I am starting to live in fear of who I was serving. My sisters are living in peace with who they're serving. I never shared my satanic faith, my black magic faith with anybody, but here they are telling everybody about their faith. I knew I was headed the wrong direction. Finally, the Lord, working through my life all that time, my younger sisters were going to a church in Horseheads. So I started going to that church and actually decided to get baptized. So I went through their baptism classes, and we had a baptism at the YMCA in Elmira. And as the pastor was baptizing me, held me up, stood me up, put me in the water. And as I went in the water, I just, at that point, that was the point, I said, Lord, come in my life. I need you. I want to be born again. It wasn't the going in the water that saved me, but that was where the Lord had to take me to get the gospel from here to here. When I came out of the water, I was a new person. Went home, got rid of all the alcohol that day, got all my magical books and stuff like that, record albums, all that stuff, put them in a big bag, out in the trash, it's gone. All this time I was playing in a rock band, pretty popular rock band at the time. Legacy was the name. As a Christian, I was feeling a little uncomfortable playing in bars. So finally came to the point where I got with band members and I told them I couldn't play anymore. I couldn't do the bar scene anymore. So I left the band and actually gave up playing piano for 3 years. I just got so convicted over how I'd been going against where the Lord was leading me. It wasn't until years later that I started playing piano again. I was going to a small church and their piano player didn't show up. So they asked, does anybody know how to play piano? And I can play. So I came up, played the piano, playing out of the hymnal, and started playing after that. So I've been playing for the Lord ever since. We originally met in the YMCA in Corning and eventually bought a building in Millport, and I was youth pastor through the years, assistant pastor in later years. All the time I was drawn to TTCA, and I'd heard of Breesport Baptist. The guys were doing like outreaches that were really unusual for churches at that time. All the time I knew I'm gonna end up in Breesport sometime. So we went through the years and church declined in Millport and finally closed the church. And the next week I came to Breesport Baptist. Bridgeport Baptist Church was my home before it was my home. So we immediately connected. So through the years, my wife, Mary, she'd been diagnosed with an incurable, at that time, disease. And the last 2 years of her illness, I resigned my job, took care of her for 2 years. The church body here was such a help. And when Mary passed, Pastor Doug was there, and just a special time to be able to see somebody leave, a life of mostly pain and sickness and enter into the Lord's presence. Lord brought us together, and that's another story. I think I can speak for both of us. We're thankful that the Lord's worked. It was the Lord's pleasure to bring us together. God's brought your wife into your life to be your helpmate. And that means that as a believing wife, she's going to speak into your life in ways that you can't speak into your own life, because she's that missing part of you, that missing rib. So Gina is my missing rib. She's makes me whole. I'm 72 with a 4-year-old son. You've been to church here in Bridgeport. You've probably seen us running down the hallways trying to catch him. Jackson is on the spectrum. He's nonverbal, but super smart. When his mother was pregnant, she was using drugs, and his father was on the spectrum. A lot of ways things were stacked against him. But if you've ever met Jackson, you can't help but love him. He is one of the happiest children you'll ever meet. God can do anything. And he's in the business of rescuing people, both adults and children. I was diagnosed with MDS years ago. With that diagnosis, I was told I'll probably die of old age before that gets me. In 2018, the blood work showed that this MDS had changed to acute myeloid leukemia, AML. Gene and I met with the hematologist oncologist, and he said it's at the point already where really should start palliative care and then hospice care. So we looked at the doctor, Gene and I looked at each other, then we looked at the doctor and said, is there anything else we can do? He said, well, there really are not a lot of options for older people. But he said, I've got a friend that works at Wilmot Cancer Center in Rochester. Let me send your files to him and have him look them over. So he did. Got a call from Wilmot Cancer Center, Dr. Mendlin. They agreed to meet up and interview me. I passed. So he agreed to take my file and meet with a hematologist that did stem cell transplants. Met with him and another hematologist there at Wilmot Cancer Center, and they agreed to do a transplant if they could find a donor. Came up with 3 donors, which is unusual. All 3 were 10 out of 10 matches. So that was the hand of God, no doubt about it. I had my transplant on April 8th, 2024. Transplant was successful, but it was just a matter of less than a week where they saw that the donated stem cells had already engrafted and they were starting to make blood cells. That's very unusual. The normal hospital stay after a transplant is 4 to 6 months. I was discharged from the hospital less than a month after the transplant. I've still got some relatively major issues with graft versus host rejection issues, but in countless ways, I see the hand of the Lord just through that, getting cancer, going in the hospital, having a successful transplant, which was very unusual in any way, but especially for somebody my age, and the opportunity through all of it to minister and to share my faith in Jesus and the reason that I had hope, the reason I had peace. Lord's used that in ways that, I don't think anybody could imagine. So here I am. I'm on the worship team. I like to play every week. I love playing the piano. I love making music with other Christian musicians. So it's such a blessing to be here at Breezeport, and thankful for this time to be able to share a little bit of my testimony with you. If you want to hear more, look me up. We can talk.